The city moved too fast to notice small voices. Cars rushed past, heels clicked against pavement, and conversations blurred into a distant hum beneath the glow of towering glass buildings. But on that cold evening, as a light winter breeze carried the scent of coffee and rain, one voice managed to break through the noise, not loud, not demanding, but fragile enough to stop a woman who was used to ignoring everything that didn't serve her schedule. "Ma'am. I don't have a mama. Can I spend a day with you?" The words were soft, trembling, and yet they hit like thunder. Elena Carter, CEO of one of the most powerful tech companies in the country, froze mid-step. Her assistant, walking just behind her, nearly collided into her back. Elena wasn't a woman who paused. Not for traffic, not for people, and certainly not for strangers. Her entire life had been built on discipline, control, and the unshakable belief that emotions were distractions. But something about that voice made her turn. Standing a few feet away was a little girl, no more than 5 years old. Her coat was slightly too big, her shoes worn at the edges, and in her arms, she clutched a small, faded teddy bear as if it were the only thing anchoring her to the world. Her cheeks were pink from the cold, and her wide eyes carried a mixture of fear and hope that no child should ever have to hold. Elena frowned slightly, instinctively scanning the area. "Where are your parents?" she asked, her tone firm but not unkind. The girl hesitated. "I don't have a mama," she repeated quietly. "And I don't know where my papa is." Those words landed heavier than the first. Elena's assistant leaned in, whispering urgently, "Ma'am, we're already late for the investor dinner. We really should go." Of course they were late. Elena was always late when something unexpected interfered, and she hated that. But she didn't move. Instead, she crouched slightly, bringing herself closer to the child's level. It was an unfamiliar gesture, one she hadn't made in years. "What's your name?" she asked. "Lily," the girl replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lily," Elena repeated, as if testing the name against something deep inside her. "Do you have anyone with you?" Lily shook her head. A silence followed, thick and uncomfortable. People passed by, some glancing briefly before continuing on with their lives. No one stopped. No one asked. No one cared. Except Elena couldn't look away. For a moment, something flickered behind her composed exterior, a memory she had long buried. A younger version of herself, standing alone, waiting for someone who never came. She quickly pushed it aside. That was the past. She had worked too hard to escape it. "Ma'am," Lily said again, her small fingers tightening around the teddy bear. "Just for one day. I'll be very good." The innocence in that promise broke something. Elena stood still, her mind racing. This was irrational. She didn't have time for this. She didn't even like children. Her world was built on contracts, deadlines, and billion-dollar decisions, not emotional detours. And yet, "Cancel the dinner," she said suddenly. Her assistant blinked in shock. "Ma'am. I said cancel it." There was no room for argument in her voice. Then, without fully understanding why, Elena reached out her hand. "All right, Lily," she said quietly. "You can spend the day with me." For a split second, the little girl didn't move, as if she couldn't believe what she had just heard. Then, slowly, she stepped forward and placed her tiny hand into Elena's. And just like that, something shifted. The drive to Elena's penthouse was unusually quiet. Lily sat beside her, staring out the window in awe as the city lights passed by like stars. Every now and then, she would glance at Elena, as if making sure she was still there. "Is this your car?" Lily finally asked. "Yes. It's very big." Elena almost smiled. When they arrived, Lily hesitated at the entrance, her small hand gripping Elena's sleeve. "Can I really come in?" Elena nodded. The moment they stepped inside, Lily's eyes widened. The penthouse was everything Elena had worked for, modern, elegant, and flawless. But through Lily's eyes, it wasn't intimidating. It was magical. "Wow," she whispered. Elena watched her carefully, noticing the way she walked slowly, afraid to touch anything, as if she didn't belong there. Something about that made Elena uncomfortable. "You can sit," she said, gesturing toward the couch. Lily nodded, climbing onto it carefully, still holding her teddy bear. "What's his name?" Elena asked, surprising herself. "Mr. Buttons," Lily replied, her face lighting up for the first time. And there it was, a smile. Small, pure, and completely unguarded. Elena felt her chest tighten. Hours passed in ways she couldn't explain. They talked. They ate. Lily laughed at things Elena didn't even realize were funny. And for the first time in years, Elena's perfectly controlled world felt warm. But as the night grew deeper, reality began to creep back in. "Ma'am," Lily said softly, her eyes heavy with sleep. "Will I have to go back tomorrow?" Elena didn't answer immediately. Because for the first time in a long time, she didn't know what the right answer was. She looked at the little girl curled up on her couch, holding onto a worn teddy bear like it was her only source of comfort in the world. And in that moment, Elena realized something that no boardroom, no deal, no success had ever taught her. Some encounters don't come into your life by accident. Some are meant to change you. She gently placed a blanket over Lily, her movements softer than they had ever been. "We'll figure it out," she whispered. And as she stood there, watching over a child who had walked into her life with nothing but a simple request for one day, Elena Carter, the woman who had everything, realized she might have just found the one thing she never knew she was missing. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us for more powerful, emotional journeys that remind us what truly matters in life.